Okay, I was interrupted. So we have, next we have, with up so floating many bells down, we see the image of bells throughout this poem. Up and down can be bells, and bells, especially in Christian culture, is very much a sign of the various transitions we go through in life. Bells ring when people are born, when people die, or when people are married, and it also will just mark the passing of time, because this poem is really a poem about life and things that we'll see marriage, we'll see death in this poem. Then we have spring, summer, autumn, winter, which is both another way to show time passing as we go through life. We go from one season to another. And also, I think that there's a little contrast between society, the town, on the one hand, and nature on the other. No matter what human beings do, nature just continues on its own. Okay, he sang his didn't, he danced his did. First of all, we get here a really, a striking example of the way E.E. Cummings ignores convention, because he's using didn't and did as if they're nouns, which they're not. And also, it's so open to interpretation. And I think one of the things E.E. Cummings wants is that students shouldn't just think, what did the teacher say about this poem? What is the correct interpretation? No, every person reading this poem can really come and interpret this any way he wants. I could say we have good in life and bad in life. Sometimes there are negative things, sometimes there are positive things, but you can come up with something else. Then we have women and men. Now we're back to the people of the town, both little and small. Now that's strange, because normally you would expect big and little or small and large, but here they're both the diminutive, both the smaller things. And I think this is to say that the people in this town, they're little and small in every sense. They have small minds, they don't have ambition, and so on. They cared for anyone, not at all. And we have the double meaning. Either they didn't like this particular person whose name is anyone, but they also don't seem to like people in general. They all seem to have some sort of problem of human relations. They sowed their isn't, they reaped their same. Sowing is putting seeds into the ground. And after you put seeds into the ground, you come back and you collect whatever grew, you're reaping. And, in the Bible it says, as you sow, so shall you reap. But here, they're not sowing anything, they sow their isn't, or what they sow is very negative. They're only planting very bad, negative things, and that's what they're going to get back. That's either they're going to reap nothing or they're going to reap something negative. And then we switch back again to nature, sun, moon, stars, rain, which also highlights the contrast between society and nature. And sun, moon, stars, rain also kind of show a passing of time, because sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's rainy, the moon goes through phases, and so on. Then we have children guessed, but only a few, and down they forgot as up they grew, autumn, winter, spring, summer, that no one loved him more by more. So we have the children, not all of them, but some of the children. They're able to guess something that the rest of the society doesn't guess. They're able to see the love that no one has for anyone. We now have a love story involving someone called no one who's in love with this person called anyone. And the children pick up on this because children are more sensitive, more closer to feelings and emotions. They're not afraid to show emotions. And so they are sensitive to this love story that the rest of society apparently is not aware of. But unfortunately, down they forgot as up they grew. As they grow older, they become more acculturated, they become part of society, they pick up on society's conventions and values, and then they lose that special sensitivity that to emotions that they had as children. We see the up and down. This could remind us again of the bells as time goes on. And I was also thinking that up and down reminds me of children's games, particularly swings and seesaws. And again, autumn, winter, spring, summer, that's the seasons going around as the children grow up and lose that special quality they had in childhood. Then we have when by now and tree by leaf, she laughed his joy, she cried his grief. We're back to the love story, and notice that she laughed his joy, she cried his grief. She is in empathy with him. When he's happy, she's happy. When he is sad, she is sad. The when by now and tree by leaf, you can make pretty much anything out of this. Again, he leaves things purposely very open. When by now reminds me of the Hebrew when we say, if not now, when? Do things, take advantage of the time, go for it. Tree by leaf could be spring, which is always a sign of renewal of life, and love is very much associated with the spring. Then we have bird and snow, different parts of nature. Stir and still. Stir is when you're not moving. Stir is when you're moving, and still is when you're not moving. So the love can be in all different situations, whether it's in the spring when there are birds, in the winter when there's snow, when they're staying still, when they're moving. Any was all to her. Beautiful image of love where this person is everything. And then we contrast with someone's married, they're everyone's. Other people are getting married too, but notice it's in the plural. Sometimes you read in the news, usually it's like somewhere in the Philippines or something, that they have a mass wedding of 40 brides and 40 grooms. And, in the news they make a big deal of this, but it seems a little bit strange to me that the moment that should be such a moment of individuality becomes kind of this massive wedding. It's a little strange. But not only that, it says laughed their cryings. In other words, they're out of sync. Instead of being happy when your spouse is happy and sad when your spouse is sad, here it's like the opposite. One spouse is laughing when the other is crying. And then we have sleep, wake, hope, and then. They said their nevers, they slept their dream. If anyone and no one, we said now. The rest of society is like never, and they slept their dream. Their dream is never going to come true. I'll leave sleep, wake, hope, and then for you. Maybe it's just different situations in marriage. Sometimes you're sleeping, sometimes you're waking. You can make whatever you want of that. We go back to the seasons or the movement of time. Stars, rain, sun, moon, and only the snow can begin to explain how children are apt to forget to remember, with up so floating many bells down. I don't think there's anything new here, except maybe using the image of snow when we talk about children forgetting, because snow is freezing, snow is winter, and this goes together with the children losing their youth, their great spirit of renewal. Snow is like the opposite. Then we get something sad. One day anyone died, I guess, and no one stooped to kiss his face. So anyone dies, although it's just, I guess, it's like society didn't even care enough to be 100% sure, but it seems he died. No one stooped to kiss his face. We have again the ambiguity. It could be no one, the person who stoops to kiss his face, and it could be there was nobody in society who had any sort of affection for this person. And then we have busy folk buried them side by side. So already in the next line, no one has also died. And we know that often when people are in love, after one dies, the other dies very shortly after. We see this a lot, especially in elderly couples who have been together for many, many years. And their busy folk bury them. It's like they bury them, but, well, they can hardly be bothered. I mean, what a waste of time. These folks are busy with all sorts of important things, probably, maybe they're they're trying to make a lot of money, or, they're involved in all sorts of important things, and taking the time to bury anyone and no one, they apparently do it very, very quickly, go through the motions because they have to, but without much care. But anyone and no one at least are buried side by side. And then we have little by little, and was by was, all by all, and deep by deep, and more by more. To me, we start with little, and we end up with all and deep and more. I think it seems like a growing, some sort of growing. They dream their sleep. Now, that was the opposite. We saw most people sleep their dream. They never fulfill their dreams. But here, it seems that even in death, which is their sleep, they continue dreaming. And then again, we have some other images which you can interpret almost any way you want. Earth, April, wish, spirit, if, and yes. But most of those are very positive images. April is spring. We have wishes maybe coming true. We have the spirit. Maybe their spirit continues even though they're dead. If by yes, if there are any conditions they made, they come true. And then we get to the ending. Women and men both dong and ding. The dong and ding is, again, to remind us of the bells. Summer, autumn, winter, spring, the seasons. Reaped their sowing and went their came. They now collect what the result of their sowing. Went their came. It seems that they're at odds with each other. They're in opposite directions from each other. It could suggest conflict. Sun, moon, stars, and rain. We end with the growing seasons. So that is Anyone Lived in a Pretty How Town. I hope this all got recorded.